Attention chiropractors, slayers of subluxation, unleashers of the imprisoned impulse, and protectors of the developing brain. Welcome to the Cranial Doc Podcast, where we master the work that actually changes lives. Craniopathy, nervous system-based care, and the business systems that let you scale without selling your soul. I'm Dr. Anthony Pellegrino, pediatric chiropractor, certified craniopath, and proud automation geek. Let's dive in. What is going on? Slayers of subluxations, unleashers of the imprisoned impulse, chiropractors. Welcome to the Cranial Doc Podcast. Now, I got to tell you, this is a little bit weird because I had read somewhere making this that you should record a number of episodes and then go back and record an episode 0, like intro. And I just did that. I just finished recording episodes 1 through 6 over the last couple days and weeks. And it feels a little bit weird and backwards to do. But let's talk a little about what is going on, a little bit about our manifesto. My name is Dr. Anthony Pellegrino. I used to, if you recognize my voice, and more importantly, that if you listen to podcasts on a sped up speed, then you probably are slowing this one down from your normal because this is how I speak. Okay. And if you recognize that, I used to run a podcast years ago called the Chiropractic Research Breakdown, which I stopped during COVID because I just was no longer really feeling called to that. But over the last couple of years, I have gone really, really, really deep on this rabbit hole of cranial work. I've had the pleasure of scaling and building my practice from not so great to doing 7 figures plus using straight chiropractic and cranial work, no gadgets, potions, lotions, or anything else like that, just straight chiropractic. You may or may not consider the cranial work to be straight, but it's correction of subluxation of the bones surrounding the central nervous system. So we can debate that all day. But because of that, I, have been really, really, really loving just talking and educating and communicating in this work. And I decided to bring this thing back under the guise of the Cranial Doc brand or whatever podcast. So a number of months ago, I started an email series, which was just the musings, the thoughts, the different things that I learned and scaling each week, just people texting me and asking questions about implementing cranial work in pediatric care into practice. And over that time, I also was able to receive my diplomate in pediatrics, did a bunch of other certifications, certified breastfeeding specialist, certified in pediatric craniopathy and spinal SOT, doing all these different things. And I was like, cool, I finally feel like I have like the credentials and everything else to be able to like really look at this and be like, hey, cool, maybe it's time that I actually get to teach people some of this stuff, which is cool. So each week, people just randomly and friends and people who know me from wherever text me and have all these different questions about different things of practice. And I typically answer those. And every once in a while, I'll read or see something or be called to like send an email about that. So I've been doing that for the last couple months. Some of the things, for example, that we're going to have in some of these episodes is like how to use AI to be able to, how to actually create a project folder, a chatbot in AI that actually understands you and your practice and the way your avatars think, running specific prompts. How do we generate input? How do we scale? How do we use it to hire? How do we do everything else in our practice, right? So different things like that. Also, just some more research breakdowns, different things that I've come across in the cranial world and vestibular function and pediatric care, as well as just overall just philosophy, motivation, everything else like that. And I've been including it in this email series. And what's been really cool is people have been like responding and saying thank you and saying, can I have more of this? And how do I sign up? And I'm like, there's nothing to sign up for. I did launch a CRM membership with Go High Level. Get in the email series at thecranialdoc.com. You can learn more about that, or go to thecranialdoc.com/membership and you can get on there, right? But people asking more and more and more about this. And I was like, cool. Well, my email open rates are fantastic. Because it's good content, so people actually open it. It's like, unlike when I send an email for my practice, I think it's like a 15% to 20% open rate, which people are like, whoa, that's awesome. And then this is like 70% of people read the email, so I know it's high value, which is pretty cool. So I was like, all right, well, I used to like really enjoy just riffing off the cuff, talking about research on the Chiropractic Research Breakdown, so why don't I start recording it? And here we are. So that's me. If you used to follow in the past, cool, love that. Welcome back. If you're a new listener, here's a couple things you should know. Number one, I am from New Jersey, and you'll be able to tell because I say bad words a lot and I talk really, 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 really quickly. Number two, is if you're a Harry Potter fan, I'm a Ravenclaw, which means that I love learning for the sake of learning. So I am one of the people who enjoys talking to you, honestly, sometimes more than I enjoy talking to my patients. And because I like communicating at this level, at a higher level, at using actual anatomy and physiology. And it was actually my wife that noticed that she saw me actually doing a talk on cranial work at Dr. Amy Spolstra's Focus VIP event. And she was like, you're so much happier when you're like not translating down to a patient, like how they understand it. And I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I love educating patients. I love talking to them, but just like, I like talking to you. I'm just so much more called. I am so called to talk to you. And my team members in the office, my docs and associates in the office are like so freaking good at communicating and relating to and talking to patients that it's like, it just frees me up to be able to just do this stuff and talk to other doctors too, which I love. So I like doing that. So that's the nerdiness. And number 3, what is it? I'm part computer. So a lot of the stuff that you're going to learn about on here, as well as the email series, are going to be like specific automations that you can do, ways that you can use technology to make your life easier. I have been automating systems for the last 10 years in my office. I've been like automating and working with and building different things with APIs and with like rooting my phone and hacking and using Linux and stuff like that since I was like 10, 11 years old. So yeah, that's the fun stuff that we get to do. And this brings me a lot of joy. So anyway, it's the Cranial Doc podcast. I've got it on YouTube if you want to just see me talk with captions, which maybe you want, or just on Spotify or your podcast player of choice. This is episode 0, and a little more all over the place than the chiropractic research breakdown. It's going to be a little bit of everything, a lot more practice building, philosophy, automation, everything else like that, the research itself. But I'll still sneak in some research and some pediatric conversations specifically because that's where my heart is. So, guys, welcome. Have a beautiful day. Can't wait to talk to y'all soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Cranial Doc podcast. I hope you got a ton of value out of today's episode. And if you did, it would mean the world to me if you jumped over to iTunes or your favorite podcast player of choice and subscribed, rated, reviewed, and shared this episode with a friend that you know could benefit. We have a ton of this information and more in our free email series at thecranialdoc.com. So go ahead and jump on there, subscribe, and get me raw, unfiltered in your inbox every week, changing your practice. Can't wait to see you for the next episode.